Hola, amigos. This is your bass player, Billy Sheehan. You're watching me right here on Sonic Perspectives.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview of Sonic Perspectives. I'm Rodrigo, and today I have the pleasure of speaking to one of my favorite bass players in the world, Mr. Billy Sheehan. Billy, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks you for your kind words. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I have my Winery Dogs attire here. We have the Winery
Perfect.
Dogs background. We're ready
Got
for
it.
it.
Right on. Very good.
Yeah. So, with someone with such a lengthy career, there's a lot to discuss, but let's get to the new Winery Dogs album coming out on February 3rd.
Right on.
Great to hear new music from you guys again after so long.
Yeah, we had a blast putting this record together, and it came together naturally and organically, and the three of us in a little room writing songs together, the way it should be. Uh,
Yeah.
no file sharing or video writing. We were all there together.
Yeah.
So we had a wonderful time doing it and reconnecting again. Everybody, so many people I haven't seen for the last 2 years, 2 or 3 years. So I haven't
Yeah.
been on tour or playing, and not a lot of traveling going on during the pandemic insanity. So
Yeah.
we had a wonderful time getting together and a wonderful time putting this record together.
Yeah. I spoke with Richie when his album with Adrian Smith came out, and he did mention at the time that you guys were considering to do something already, but none of you guys wanted to get on a plane to meet at that time. It was at the height of COVID, right? So,
Yeah, it was. It's been tough on everybody,
yeah,
particularly on road crew, sound and
yeah,
lights, and crew guys, and bus drivers and truck drivers. It's
yeah,
been tough for them. A lot of them had to quit and go get jobs elsewhere, sadly. So
yeah,
I think we're getting back to normal again, though,
yeah,
thankfully, and good health and good economy for everyone, I hope.
yeah, and a lot to catch up on, right? So many tours that were postponed, so many releases that were deferred. So, yeah.
Very true.
Uh, yeah. And I know you guys toured for Hot Streak, and there was a long period of inactivity there, and you did a brief summer tour in 2019. Do you find that doing those shows kind of played a part in the three of you reconnecting as a band at the time?
Oh, it always does. We were
Hmm.
never unconnected, though. We were always
Okay.
connected. We're always in communication. There's a scheduling thing.
Hmm.
I'm reading some of the reviews on the record, and people talk about the band saying that, people thought that we were going to do one record and that was going to be it. But I know from the very beginning, all three of us, we were of the same mind
Hmm.
that when you put a record out, it means a lot to a lot of people,
Yeah.
hopefully. And you can't just put a record out and then just drop that and go somewhere else. They've made an emotional investment in your music and
Yeah.
they've come to your shows. So we really realize that, and it's important to us.
Yeah.
So we want to continue making great music every chance we get. We all have busy schedules, but the Winery Dogs are a very high priority for all of us. This is a great band, and we love it, and it's enjoyable. We have amazing fans. We've had incredible success with it, so
Yeah.
we want to continue on for as long as I'm able to pick this up and hold it.
Yeah. Oh, it's not the double neck that you use for Sons of Apollo, but yeah, you have to still hold it, right?
Yeah, well, I can. That's a it's a heavy bass
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, I saw the first tour that you guys did while I was living in Rio, and you played for like 500 people in a packed theater. And then you came back a couple of years later, 2016, I think, in a much bigger venue.
Right.
Maybe now it's time you guys explode and reach a much larger audience as well. You grow through each release, right?
I believe so, and the,
That's the hope.
the success of the first two songs has been incredible.
Yeah.
From Xanadu and Mad World, the response has been mind blowing. Really,
Yeah.
I knew they would do good. I like the songs a lot,
Yeah.
and we enjoy playing them. But you never know how people are going to respond.
Yeah.
Sometimes you put out a song and think this is the greatest song ever, and nobody does anything. Sometimes you put out a song and I don't know, and everybody goes crazy for it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to judge sometimes. But I love these two songs, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we're in sync with our audience because they seem to be responding extremely positive. So we're
Yeah,
very grateful for that. That's pretty
yeah.
awesome. That's pretty amazing. Mad World has just blown up all over. We're getting about 100,000 views a day on YouTube,
Wow.
and it's
Yeah,
fantastic. So
yeah,
we're very thankful to everyone
yeah,
that's given us a click and given a listen. And now the ticket sales and all of our shows that are already on sale have been fantastic.
yeah.
So, and we put out a list of the dates we're doing, and everybody panicked. So why aren't you playing here? Why aren't you playing there? And they go, no, 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 no. This is the first chunk,
Right.
first leg, the first paw
First Paul.
of the Winery Dogs. There's going to be 3 or 4 more of these.
Right.
So we had to continue. It's tough because people think we choose where to play.
Yeah,
So why don't you play in?
yeah,
Why do you refuse to play in Detroit? And I go, we don't. We want to play Detroit,
yeah,
but Detroit hasn't booked us. They got to book us. We can't just wander into a city, set up somewhere, and start playing.
yeah,
They have to hire us to come there, and people just do not understand that. It's amazing. It's kind of mind blowing.
yeah.
So I have to keep reassuring them. There's plenty more shows to go, and there's nowhere I wouldn't want to play. I mean, why wouldn't I want to play? And I've played in India. I've played in Indonesia. We had a fantastic time.
Hmm.
Uh, all over South America, all over Europe. Haven't played in Africa yet, but I'd love to. And I always said the only place I wouldn't want to play is if there was a shooting war. However, we played in India at a place where there was a
Oh
shooting
wow.
war, and they called a truce for the show. So I'll play anywhere. So if you don't see your city or your country's name on our list, it's not our fault. It's not up to us. It's up to you and
Promoters.
your guys to do it. There was a
Yeah.
city in Japan called Sendai,
Mm.
beautiful little seaside city, and they started a petition because they wanted Mr. Big to play in Sendai. And sure enough, they got about 75,000 signatures.
Wow.
Now, the place we played only held about 3,000 people because it's a
Mm.
small city. So
Yeah.
out on the street were hundreds, thousands of people. Just
Wow.
so we were waving at everybody from the windows, and there was a fantastic. But they hired us because they made it. In the Philippines, they did that as well. They just kept making noise and calling promoters and starting get things going. And sure enough, they hired us, and we went and played in Manila. It was fantastic.
Right, right. Well, I hope you guys make it to where I am at the moment. I live in Toronto, so I know it's
Wow.
coming. I know it's coming. So
Absolutely, yeah. Well,
yeah,
originally from
publication.
Buffalo, and I used to play Toronto all the time.
Yeah.
I played at the Gas Works, Larry's Hideaway, the Piccadilly
Mhm.
Tube, all kinds of legendary Toronto clubs.
Yeah,
I briefly played with Max Webster,
I know that. Yeah,
Mitchell. Yeah, there's
yeah.
some great, and I've got a lot of great friends. And the new Talas record, most of the mixing and all the vocals were done in Toronto, while I was here in my home monitoring on some special software so I could hear what was happening and produce the record from here.
Got
So
it.
Toronto's a very important city. Sink Your Teeth Into That by Talas was recorded in Toronto.
Was it? Oh, I didn't know that. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, speaking of Talas, I know you guys put out an amazing record last year in 1985, and sadly we lost Phil back in 2021. But is there the intention to tour with Talas at some point?
Yeah, we have a guy that can sing that we feel very confident with. Well, we're going to try. It's difficult timing wise because we have a very busy year this year with the Winery Dogs and a few other things. But we will. I'd love to play again, at least to do a couple shows just to honor Phil and his memory. Because he was just such a wonderful guy and he sang so
Yeah.
great on this record. And people, the response to 1985 has been fantastic.
Yeah.
I was, see 2,000 comments and not a single negative. It was just so fantastic.
Yeah.
So we'd love to do something for Phil, but also I love playing with Mark Miller and our new guitarist Curie too. We would like to play those songs live because they're a ride to play. So we'll see. We hope so.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, the cover of 1985 kind of brings me to my next topic, because I know that Hugh Syme did that cover, and he was the guy behind all the Rush covers except for the first two albums. And you guys, you opened for Rush on 2 tours with Mr. Big and jam with the band. I was just watching it. It's on YouTube. Your jam with Alex and Neil. What was that experience like?
The guys in Rush are some of the nicest, most generous, incredible people, supremely talented. And they were just so kind to us. We did 2 tours with them. We did the entire Presto tour, and then we did a bunch of the Roll the Bones tour. And they were just so great. And I got to see them play every night, which was great. So I've seen them about 100 times. And, just excellent, just right on the money. And their fans are fantastic, and their fans just love them. What an incredible relationship between Rush and their fans. It's so great. So we're very honored and very thankful that they allowed us to be on tour with them. And we did have a wonderful time. We had a blast. And it was incredible memories from that.
Awesome. And well, you also opened for, with Talas, you opened for AC/DC when Bon Scott was still in the band, right? That must have been a wild experience too.
No, we opened for UFO.
Oh, okay.
When AC/DC and UFO were touring together, and they came over the bridge from Canada. For some reason, UFO couldn't. There was a problem at the customs or something. I don't know. So it's always difficult. Yeah. So AC/DC played a show in Buffalo. Then when UFO came, they needed an opening act because the ticket sales were slow. So Talas opened for UFO, and that's how I got the gig later touring with UFO, and also working on Michael Schenker's first solo record.
Okay.
So that was the connection. It wasn't AC/DC.
Okay,
I love AC/DC.
Yeah,
I love UFO too, but AC/DC with Bon. I saw AC/DC with Bon open for Aerosmith.
Wow.
Tour around that time. Just great. Amazing.
Yeah. And when it comes to Mr. Big, your last show was about 5 years ago, and now there are talks about a run of shows with a mysterious drummer. What can you reveal about that?
Well, nothing yet. Nothing's been booked or anything like that, but we would like to possibly do some more. Maybe a really good, solid, for real farewell tour would be nice. Right. But I don't have any info on it yet. We hope to do something, because I love those guys, and we miss Pat, of course. But we got to have a great relationship now, and we'd like to possibly do something if we can.
Okay. Well, back to the Winery Dogs and the new album. There are some bass-tastic moments throughout, but I'll ask you about my 2 favorites: the outro of Mad World and the verses on Rise, where Richie kind of takes a back seat and lets you be the driving force, right? Can you tell me about those?
Well, the solo on Mad World is a tough one. It's a tough solo. It was, when I did it, a lot of times when I play, I just play. I don't think, okay, I'm going to do this here now, and then I'll do this, and how about this here, and okay. There's no thinking. You just fly. Turn the radar off and fly through the clouds. And so when I hear it later, sometimes I don't know what in the world I did or how I got it. And there's one riff that's it goes by super fast. I didn't even know how I fingered it. So I would so I've been working on that. I got it. But in the moment when you're recording, you push yourself, and to duplicate that, sometimes it's not easy. So I hear things so many times that I've played on, or I'll be in a session and I play a thing and they go, "Oh, great, could you do that again?" I go, "No, you only have to play it back, and I'll try and learn it and do it again, because I'm not really." There's a saying amongst a bunch of musicians I know: if you think, you stink. So if you're thinking while you're playing, you're probably stinking. It's probably because you don't want to, just like you speak with someone and they're thinking about everything they say before they say it. Right now, you and I were just talking. You're speaking from the heart, from the head. No problem. You don't have to stop and think, "Oh, what's my next word? What are the next words I should say?" It's not a conversation anymore. It doesn't feel right. So same with playing. I'm not thinking. So that the Mad World solo has been. I spent a couple of hours on it just to make sure I knew what I was doing. That, and then the other one, yeah, Richie, sometimes it's great in a three-piece band.
Yeah.
Rush, Grand Funk Railroad, ZZ Top, Cream, so many great three-piece bands. Long list. You have room to move, and for a bass player, a three-piece band is a lot of fun because you're kind of also taking the part of the rhythm guitar player. Sometimes the guitar player can back off, and you can do a little thing, and I love the three-piece format. Talas was for a long time a three-piece band, and it's a wonderful experience to play three-piece. Mr. Big three-piece with vocal, the second Talas three-piece with vocal, so it's similar. But Richie will sometimes just kind of here, Billy, do your thing. And, so we have a good relationship musically. Our communication musically is really wonderful. I can look over at Mike Portnoy and play exactly what he plays, even though neither one of us knew what we were going to do. I'll look over and he's playing and go, and I'll play, I'm basically, we'll look at each other like, how did you know? How did you know? So it's this weird musical ESP. So it happens with guitarists and other musicians as well. But bass and drums for me, that's my main thing.
Yeah, and I think. Go ahead.
Sorry, but when I can get it with a guitarist, and I do with Richie, it's a huge bonus.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, and I think you mentioned the trio format. I guess with Talas being a trio for the most part, it was kind of what drove me to have an output that is busier than just playing root notes, right? Is that how you developed it, and to kind of fill up space in a trio?
Yeah, we didn't have a rhythm guitar player or a keyboard or second lead. So sometimes if something happened, I would have to do it on bass. So we do Burn by Deep Purple, and I would end up doing the keyboard solo on bass while the guitar player would chug the low notes along, kind of be the bottom of it. So we did Schizoid Man by King Crimson. There's a little soprano sax trollo. Trollo. I have too much coffee today. A little soprano sax trill solo.
Right.
So it's a.
Yeah.
So it's a little thing. So without that in there, I needed to hear that in order for it to sound like Schizoid Man. So the guitarist is busy, so I managed to do a little, to mimic that part. And we would do Carry On Wayward Son, and I do the.
Second guitar kind of thing.
Yeah. So the keyboard stabs and things like that. So that helped me to understand more about an arrangement with fewer instruments, to being able to still get the feel and the music of a particular song, especially a song by the Tubes. I don't know, it was about 8 people in that band, and Kansas was 5 or 6. So with 3 guys, and we would do Crosby, Stills, and Nash stuff because we had three voices, a lot of harmony things. So it was not a wasted limb or voice anywhere. So a lot of times now when people say, "Hey, I'm a drummer," oh, good for you. I go, you interested in playing with me? I go, "Do you sing?" He goes, "No." Well, good luck on those drums.
Right.
There's a lot back in the day. Everybody had to sing because just one guy standing there playing guitar, unless he was some spectacular, amazing magician on the instrument. You're kind of wasting a hotel room because we need a voice. You need that harmony voice. So back in the old days, that was a requirement for a lot of bands. You had to sing, So.
Well, in the Winery Dogs, all 3 of you guys sing, and it's just those beautiful harmonies there. So you sorted,
we enjoy it, and Richie's got such a great voice. Mike's got an amazing voice too, and I'm in there croaking away too.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I noticed, I don't know if you'll agree, but I find that first album is more like straight ahead rock, where you're kind of doing your mission statement as a band. Second one, there was a little bit more leeway for experimentation, and this one is like a combination of the two. I don't know
Yeah,
if you agree on. Yeah.
I do agree, and I've heard Mike describe the record that way from the beginning.
Hmm.
I think you're right in line with what our feeling about it is. Yeah, this one is kind of a combination of both. You know, it's nice on the second record to see how far we could step over the line
Yeah.
and things like that, and some really cool things on that record that I love. But this one kind of, but the first Winery Dogs record is one of my favorite records ever. Uh, Eat 'em and Smile, Lean
Yeah.
Into It, first Winery Dogs record. That's
Wow.
really they were important records in my life and career, and just the Winery Dogs record, the first one, really meant a lot to me.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, and I know it's more a question for Mike because he's the one that spearheads the set list discussion and everything. But I guess you do have a say in what gets played live, right? And
Oh,
with
of
three
course,
albums worth of material, it must be a great feeling to have so much material to draw from.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
when we first our first tour, we had to throw a couple extra songs from somewhere in there because
Yeah.
we didn't have enough songs for the night. So second tour made that easier, and now we've got plenty to pull from.
Yeah.
So we're going to hit equally on all three records, I think, on this tour.
Okay. Yeah. And so one thing about the sequencing of the songs on the album, I'm asking this because, you know, you have a high octane song like Gaslight followed by Lorelei, which is almost like a waltz kind of thing on the album. It's a nice break at that point in the record, but who orders the songs?
Well, Mike Portnoy is a big fan of cinema
Okay.
and great directors. Uh, he knows a lot about their films and how they work and everything like that. And I think he's very qualified, therefore, to sequence a record because it's very much like a movie.
Hmm.
You know, you got your opening scene, then the plot thickens, and then maybe a love scene, maybe you shoot them up in a car chase,
Right.
maybe you know, the big reveal at the end as to who done it. All the things that are built into a movie are very similar to how you sequence an evening. I've seen some bands go up and just do an awful sequence of
Yeah.
songs that are just not, that just don't work. Similarly, back in the club days, in my days with Talas, through those years, you had to keep an audience interested. So you couldn't just jump around from song to song. You know, if you had a song that might not interest everyone, the song after it better be one that everybody wants to get on the dance floor and have a riot with. So
Right.
as soon as you do something that might push some people away, you got to draw them back again. You know,
Hmm.
it's an entertainment kind of a uh, there's a science to it, if you will,
Yeah.
on how you deal with a crowd of people. Same way you would do a lecture. You know, you're going to tell this long involved story. Well, it better have a punchline. When it does have a punchline, go on to something different where you know it can excite people in a different way. So keeping people's attention, a group of people of hundreds or even thousands of people, all of a different mind, is quite an art. So
Yeah.
Mike does a great job sequencing. Richie and I will make a suggestion here and there, especially if it's a couple songs that are tough to sing. You don't want to do them in a row. You got to give the vocalists room to breathe, and you know. Plus, you don't want to do a bunch of songs in the same key because you
Yeah.
start singing in that key, you burn your voice out in that pitch, and so there's a couple of technical things you got to watch out for. But we try to make it into a cinematic experience.
Yeah, it is a journey for sure. Yeah, well, you get a song like The Vengeance, for example, which is a lot more experimental right in the middle of the album. And then, you know, Lorelei, like I mentioned, it's kind of like a ballad. And, you know, at the end you have that sing-along with the red wine, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, yeah.
So at the
Uh,
end, we're all celebrating. See, because
yeah.
when I go on stage, I can't drink wine before a show.
Mm.
I can't do it. Maybe even during a show, maybe I'll have a beer on stage or something like that. But so wine is you know, has a greater effect on me
Of
than
course.
beer would,
Yeah.
and so I always have to wait till the end of the show. If there's going to be any imbibing of any adult beverages, it's going to have to be maybe halfway through the last song, so I can
Right.
get out like that. So we put that one on the end, so just in case somebody happens to pop a cork, we will
Right.
be able to get through it.
Fair enough. Well, and well, you mentioned Edom and Smile. I do have a question about your days with David Lee Roth, but it's not pertaining to the Edom and Smile. It's about Skyscraper because There's a rumor, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard somewhere that you guys did a great demo, you and Steve Vai. And of course, the end result, what it was like. It was more like dance music meets rock kind of thing. But is there truth to the fact that there's a demo with you guys just jamming in the same vein as Eat 'Em and Smile, or not?
Not really.
Mm,
There were some demos of those songs, but they weren't really performances at
okay.
all. And no, I've never heard that rumor. I
Okay.
usually hear most of the rumors, but I haven't heard that one.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, and what kind of contact do you have with Dave nowadays, if any?
Nothing really. I
Mhm.
just, I'm still very thankful for having worked with him. He's just the greatest and gave me my big break, and will be forever indebted.
Excellent. And well, a different question. Your last solo album came out in 2009. Do you ever think about doing another one, or do you still
Oh, yeah.
write material that you keep for yourself or not?
Tons, yeah. I got tons of
Yeah.
material that I've written, and I got a couple of guys here in Nashville with me that I'm working with, a great mixer and a couple other great musicians.
Mm.
So yeah, something's coming soon, but
Okay.
these things take time.
All right. All right. And one of the coolest things I heard you do recently was a song on Jeff Berlin's latest album,
Yeah,
with Tony Levin, Ron Carter, Marcus Miller on the same track. That's bass heaven, pretty much,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, Jeff's a dear friend of mine, and it was a tribute to Jack Bruce, who was also a huge influence on me. And
Mhm.
Jeff lives here in Nashville now too, so it's it's a great bass community. Victor Wooten, Jeff Berlin, myself, and many other. Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick is here, and a lot of bass players and guitarists from
Mhm.
around. So it's a great community here. So I was glad to play on that record with Jeff. He's truly a grandmaster on the bass. So
Yeah.
I'm glad he's nearby.
Yeah. He's a very technical guy, very focused on technique. I did an interview with him when this album came out, and he's very serious about technique and his teaching method, right?
Very much so. Yeah, I'm not a disciplined. I don't read music and I don't know theory. I
Yeah,
know I play mostly by ear and feel.
yeah,
So my approach to explaining something about bass to someone is much different. As I say, I'm not a teacher. I'm not qualified to be a teacher. I do master classes where I can show people what I do and how I got there, and maybe help them get there. And the master classes have been very successful. People have enjoyed them very much. But I'm
hmm,
not like someone like Jeff Berlin, who's quite a established and experienced
yeah,
educator.
yeah,
I can show you how it goes, but I can't explain to you Mixolydian, Dorian, Ionian, flatted seventh minor, uh,
yeah.
demented chord. I don't know what those
Fair
are.
enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Well, last question for me. We covered a lot of ground and a lot of bands you're involved with, but Sons of Apollo, is there anything in the cards, like in the immediate term? I know there was just a tour in South America that you weren't part of, and Felipe did a great job replacing you, by the way. But yeah, anything at all?
Well, I just saw everyone except for Mike over the
Hmm.
weekend because we all played on a record along with an Indonesian band. It was quite amazing. D119, they're called.
Hmm.
A huge band in Indonesia. So we all got together, me, Ron, Derek, and Jeff. Mike wasn't there, but
Hmm.
we're all good friends, and we'd love to play together again. It's a matter
Yeah.
of timing. I love playing at Sons of Apollo. Everybody in it is fantastic, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the playing that stuff live. So we'll probably be back to it at some point, I imagine.
Yeah. All right. Fingers crossed as well. But anyway, you'll be busy as hell this year with the Winery Dogs. Massive tour starting in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir.
Uh, like I said, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you guys to hit Toronto. And
I'd love to.
yeah, we'll touch base when you're here.
Great,
Okay?
great,
Awesome.
Rodrigo. Thank you very, very much for having me on, and to all your fans up there in Toronto, all my Canadian friends, I wish you all the best.
Thanks, man. Take care. All the
All
best
right,
with the new album. Cheers.
thanks a million. All right, bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.